Does everybody have their crops? All their orientations and crops? Okay, that means it's critique time. Okay, ready to show it off? Okay, Trace is going to have to follow us around with the camera. I'd like you all to put your images on full screen.
Lawrence and Blair's.
There's the Cat's Eye Nebula. Let's talk about what you think is great about the image. What do you think of the color, Erica?
The bit colors, they don't seem to, they certainly stands out in the background a lot.
What about the composition?
Well, I don't know, if you want to do something on the nebula, it should be more focused in on it, shouldn't it?
You would like it to be closer cropped on the nebula. Have a response, Lauren?
I was thinking of the rule of thirds, so I tried to put the nebula kind of a third from the bottom and then a third from the left too.
Okay, to make it a bit dynamic.
Yeah.
So what do you think if you turned it upside down? Do you think that's more dynamic? Can you see that, guys?
Oh yeah.
Okay, if you turn it upside down, whoops, maybe I should just do that in software. In a rotation like this then, it's still the rule of thirds, but you have something back here. Remember, your eye is coming in from this corner. So if you come in at this corner and you go to there, your eye's drawn back and you come back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
So it keeps you more in the picture plane.
Okay.
It's also higher up. And so when you put it on a vertical surface, it's going to look right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I like the color, and if you could do, again, more than one version is valid. So
Yeah.
one that's a fuller field of view like this is good, and one that would be closer cropped in would also be good if there was more detail.
Yeah.
But I like how you've got the red coming up here. So good. Which one of these is your favorite so far?
Well, I think this one.
You think that one? May I make a suggestion here?
Yep.
For closer? I would try and make as much on the bottom as I can and less on the top so that we actually focus on it instead of the material around it, and instead of the black area around it. So the eye's going to come here and go to this bright spot, but it's going to be slowed down like by this edge. One of the other things you could try to do, to play with and see if it works, you have to do the experiment, but is to do a bit of a rotation. Now I know if you're putting it in a publication, everybody's going to hate it. Only astronomers are going to care. And if this is for the public, they're not going to care. And then let's see if you could do, this should be done before the crop, but then what you could do is then crop. I'm going to do this a couple of times. So you could play with your crops like that. Now your eye's going to come in here, and it's going to hit this bottom here, and so it might stay more engaged with the image.
Okay, what is the significance of rotating an image? Like, why do we need to rotate an image?
Well, remember when we had the virtual diagonal that kept your eye inside the image? Okay, so if we look at this one, your eye comes in here and it hits this first. It doesn't really hit this part, which is the diagonal, because your eye's coming in low here, right? So it's kind of shooting up that way and out of the picture plane. So it has to do with composition and keeping the eye engaged in the picture plane. Whereas if your eye comes in here and it hits this, that's going to slow it down and keep it more in the image. And you play with that angle until you find that, okay, it's really keeping my eye in the image. I'm leading it around the way I want it to go. If you're going to keep this point source red, if you move this point source, this red point source, more over to this side, it's going to draw your eye back over here. Your eye can slide down here and start all over again. So the point of rotating the image is to keep the eye engaged in the picture plane. The eye comes in and goes out. Your brain goes, been there, done that, doesn't look at it again, thinks it's boring. Not a scientific reason for rotating it, right? We're not matching those dead Greek guys' catalog. So that's why we're rotating. This is a particularly difficult one to do. The colors were all coming out the same. There could be a lot of different strategies developed for this one that could be explored till you get something that balances both enough contrast to give the information about high and low energy, but also looks like a realistic object sitting there in space glowing. It also offers the possibility to do one of those illumination ones. This is my opportunity to say this is a very iterative process. Don't expect to be able to make an image in an afternoon. The public outreach images that we make usually take 2 weeks full-time work. So it's worth it in the end, but really you are painting with light, so do take the care and enjoy it. Is this a thumbnail or is it the full size?
That's the full size.
Oh my.
It wasn't that big to begin with, and the more
Right.
I make the image bigger using the software, the more pixelated and dim it gets. So
Yeah.
I basically had to. So okay, 400 is the biggest allowable I can get out of it.
Do you want to tell us about your color selection?
Mainly, I was just curious to see what would happen if I made one of the layers lavender.
So you're picking your favorite color and working with your favorite color?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was playing with colors the other day, and I wrote down like the mix for lavender. I'm like, what if I tried that? So I did that on the mid-range light level.
Some comments here? Is she successful with her use in lavender? Do you think it's harmonious?
I like it. I think it looks very good.
Is it cropped in or?
It's cropped.
Miranda, do you think it's too tight a crop, or because you would have preferred a tight crop on the cat's eye?
It might be a bit tight.
Might be a bit tight.
Just because, like, I don't know, the eye, where's the eye go at?
Yeah. So it ends up being a bit static. Is there more room under here?
Yeah, there's lots.
Okay, so you could make here's another guideline, and you might notice it in Matt's round paintings, but if you have an even spacing here, margin here, here, and here are even, this one should be 1.5 to 2 times larger.
Oh, okay.
And then it won't look like it's falling down, and it'll actually feel dynamic as well. So that's a very vertical one. It gives me the impression of something rising. Is something rising in that phenomenon?
Something shooting off to either side, I think.
So this is what you would call, like, this is bluish here, right? And this is red. So this would be one of your warm, cool contrasts. So it does make a harmonious image in terms of color. So good job, everybody. I think that you've all been successful in your attempts for developing a strategy. The next step is cosmetics, using the clone tool to remove chip seeds. Probably doing a good reading of the GIMP manual will help you with that, removing cosmic rays and so on. Some of the problems can be mitigated by, for example, if you're using Hubble Space Telescope data or optical data where there's a blue filter, Gaussian smoothing in the blue filter will help you so you don't have to do a lot of cosmetic work or twice the cosmetic work in the end. Very good, and thank you very much for the Cosmos versus Canvas tutorial videos. Your participation is really appreciated. So thanks very much.
Yay!